In this video, I'm going to be discussing ultra-processed foods and why I'm working really hard to reduce consumption of ultra-processed foods, or basically I'm trying to avoid them. But what I have found out, it's nearly impossible to completely avoid them because we are surrounded by ultra-processed foods. And yeah, I'm going to be discussing why there are so many other people trying to do exactly the same. Welcome to Your Nature Shaker. This is a channel where I'm sharing my journey, how I'm becoming more of a food creator rather than food consumer. I'm growing my own food, I'm preserving, cooking from scratch, and I'm learning a lot about nutrition, specifically a lot about ultra-processed foods. This is what you get on this channel. So the main reason why I started to look into food labels was because of my son's allergies. So my oldest son, when he was about 12 months old, we found out that he's got a nut allergy, and then since then, basically there were loads of other things added onto his allergy list, unfortunately, and that is why I really had to be careful what I'm feeding him with. And he also has eczema. And what's really interesting is that basically it was very noticeable that after certain foods, his eczema got noticeably worse. So after foods like chocolate, biscuit, pizza, burgers, so you know, the typical processed foods, or what we now class as ultra processed foods, I'm not really sure where this terminology came into place. But this is really where I start to question what we're eating, and didn't just look at the labels just to search for his, for the ingredients that he's allergic to. But I started to be interested in what are the other ingredients on the food label, which I really don't understand. I mean, if you look at the list of ingredients, there are just so many which you just don't know what they are. And this is exactly the time about 6 years ago, when I started to question the food labels and start to be really interested in processed foods, which what are known as ultra processed foods now, or classed as ultra processed foods now. So once I started my research about ultra-processed foods, I have learned what they are, and there is no single definition of ultra-processed foods, but I think, as simply said, if you can simply explain what ultra-processed foods are, these are food-like substances that were created by industrial processes, stuff like pressurizing, stuff like molding, stuff like boiling, and they add countless flavors, chemicals and preservatives into these foods. So I would say this is a basic explanation of what ultra-processed foods are. So one really important thing which I learned on this journey is that these food companies, they experiment over and over again with food, and they put forward those foods that are making the most profits. So basically they want to hit that bliss point. They're targeting adults with certain products, they're targeting kids with certain products, and they experiment with different things, and they always going to put forward those foods that are making them the most profits. So what does that mean for us? When they're hitting that bliss point, let's say, that means that we are so much more likely to overeat on ultra-processed foods in comparison to when we eat in whole foods. Think about it. Think about the last, time you ate some cereals, or you ate biscuits, you ate ready meal, right? Are you feeling full after you eat your ready meal, let's say? Are you feeling satisfied after you had your bowl of cereals? Probably not. You are probably, at least I can talk for myself, I'm just so much more likely to go back and have another bowl of cereals in comparison to, for example, bowl of porridge, or rice and chicken, in comparison to some kind of ready meal. So yeah, this is my really big reason why I'm trying to avoid, or I'm avoiding and decreasing consumption of UPFs. Because of this issue, you really are so much more likely to overeat on UPFs, and basically they are causing obesity in people. They're causing a lot of issues for people with their weight and other health issues. But in this, specific reason, a specific point is definitely with weight, because you are coming back to have some more, and actually you might find you're actually addicted to certain ultra processed foods. So another big problem with UPFs is that they disrupt your microbiome. So all the chemicals, all the preservatives, all the basically additives and processing, they disrupt your gut health, your microbiome. And what I learned not that long ago actually, that our gut health is much more important than what we originally thought. It's actually connected to our brain health, it's connected to most of our organs, and it accounts for as much as 80% of our immunity. So it's extremely important to keep our gut healthy, and these ultra processed foods with all the chemicals and all the processing, all the preservatives, they really are disrupting it, and causing all sorts of issues. Okay, so I have a couple of examples regarding the additives that commonly we can find in our food and are actually disrupting our microbiome. So one example is guar gum, and I've got a couple of notes on here just to make sure I get these details right. And basically guar gum is very common UPF, and what it does, it basically thickens food and adds fiber, but it can disrupt our gut microbiome because it's resembling glue when mixed with water. So basically imagine in your microbiome in your gut, when it's mixed with water, it's basically the substance like glue. So no wonder our gut doesn't like that, I guess. Another one is emulsifiers. Basically they, again, another one that disrupt the gut microbiome by allowing mixing of substances like oil and water. So again, water and oil, you shouldn't be able to mix them, but it allows it, and obviously I guess our microbiome again doesn't like it. These are really common UPFs, and just a couple of examples what they do to our microbiome, and kind of the reason why they disrupt them. Right, so there is no surprise that following from the issues and how negatively ultra processed foods are affecting our microbiome, and how microbiome is huge in terms of supporting most of our organs in our body. I don't think it comes as a surprise that ultra processed foods are linked to many diseases like heart attacks, cancers, type 2 diabetes, mental health problems, as well as premature death. And yes, so that is a big reason, of course, that I'm trying to reduce ultra processed foods, and many other people. Probably the number one reason why myself and many other people are trying to drastically reduce and avoid ultra processed foods, because of all these diseases, links to all these very serious diseases. So if you think about our ancestors and how they used to live, they had no access to ultra-processed foods. So for millennia, they used to survive on vegetables, fruits, lean meats, nuts, seeds. Obviously, they used to hunt, they used to forage, Ultra-processed foods did not become available until later half of 20th century. So actually evolutionary, we are not equipped or designed to handle UPFs, and obviously to be able to digest well, and to be able to handle all these preservatives, all these chemicals, and all these processing that these food companies are using. Okay, so the last reason I'm going to be discussing, the last big reason again why I'm avoiding UPFs and I'm encouraging other people to avoid UPFs, is the big environmental impact of UPFs. So think about it, all the packaging that is used on UPFs, all the energy on processing, all the energy on transportation. I mean, think about it, where do these products actually come from? Where are they shipped from? So yeah, absolutely. For example, palm oil. I mean, palm oil actually contributes to deforestation. So these are really, really serious issues. And by decreasing of consumption of UPFs, we are positively contributing to our environment. Okay, so just a quick recap of all the different reasons why we should avoid ultra-processed foods, which I have just discussed. So the number one is that we are very likely to overeat on ultra-processed foods, because the way they are produced, they actually don't signal into our brain that we are full, again because companies are going for those foods which are hitting that bliss point of consumers and which are making them the most profits. So again, you know, we are much more likely to be overeating on ultra processed foods in comparison to whole foods. So yeah, very important reason. And number two is our microbiome, which is very negatively affected by all these chemicals, preservatives, additives, processing. It just doesn't like it. Microbiome is super important for our health, much more important than what we thought in the past. So yeah, another very important reason. So the third reason, which we discussed, are all the other diseases which are strongly linked to ultra-processed foods, such as cancer, such as type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, mental health issues, and premature death. The last but not least are all the negative environmental impacts when it comes to packaging, when it comes to processing, fuel, and many more. So hopefully this gave you at least one reason why you would like to quit UPFs or avoid UPFs. And the good news is that more we learn about UPFs, it becomes easier to consume less of them. And also, even a partial reduction of these kind of foods can make a big difference to our health and to our well-being. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.